Hello.
Hello, everyone.
We're broadcasting from the canal area of the Netherlands, Amsterdam.
Yes, we are. Can you imagine? And we're together. This is the first show we've been together with in a week.
Yes.
In a week.
On Monday we were together.
Monday
but-
we were together. You're right, but we were off site. So this is our first time in the studio again.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't say anything because at the moment no one's logged in to see us yet.
Exactly. So we'll just wait. Just wait.
Today we have Steven Borghouts.
Yes, we have Steven Borghouts on, and we're going to discuss
Helping a homeless person.
I like how you say it, like questioning.
Helping a helpless person.
we're gonna discuss helping a homeless person. He's been doing that for the last 5 months. I've got tons of questions around this subject, and we're gonna discuss that and obviously a
So
lot
much
more. On a wonderful
chaos.
So it's nice to be back.
Yeah, Andy.
I walked 25 kilometers to get here today.
And a train ride.
And a train ride. Yeah, it was train. 40 minutes from Den Helder back to Amsterdam.
So Steven also he also does these trips but not by walking. He'll ride the bicycle to Spain.
Oh, nice.
Last summer he went to, I think it was end of summer, he went to from here to Turkey. And in September this year he's planning to go a bike ride to Russia somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
Now he also, as he's doing that, he also does it for charity also.
Oh, fantastic.
Own initiative. So he's really like this. I don't want to put him on the box of humanitarian, but he's really looking how to
contribute.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Yeah, when I was doing the walk and I asked people, hey, maybe this would be interesting to do in a newspaper because I'm writing this article that'll be in a magazine called Dutch. Then the questions I kept getting back, well, why don't you associate it with a charity? That was the question that kept going. Why don't you associate? I'm like, I just had the idea a week ago. Like I don't know. Like I can only organize so many things at once. So yeah, I do think it's really beautiful because at some point, when you start like wanting to do beautiful things in the world, and you say, "Oh, I'm going to do what I love and make it a benefit to someone else," and I think that's always really sweet.
Yeah.
So this episode, it was specifically very interesting for me because there's always a bigger theme that pulls me to a show, and not always, but often. And this was a really big theme for me because when you told me the story of Steven, then I immediately had a reaction, and the reaction was
inside your body,
inside my body. Yeah.
Was it visceral?
It was pretty visceral. Yeah.
Thought so.
And it was like, wow. So he's found a man off the street. He's lived homeless, and 5 months ago he says, I'm going to help this man, whatever, reintegrate. We'll find out what the words are that he would use.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting there, and I'm always thinking in terms of coaching and training. And I'm always like, I work in conditions. I use the word conditions all the time.
Yeah.
And I use the word conditions because I say, if the conditions aren't there, then helping an individual often is not helpful. So it's really a hard thing. It's a fine line between trying to help somebody when the other individual will receive your assistance, but doesn't want to necessarily do the hard work.
Yeah.
So I was really curious because I also know that a lot of people, they don't necessarily they choose to be homeless. Like there's people in the world that decide, hey, this is the way I like to live. I had a dinner with someone last week, and they were in Spain, and there was a man who was homeless down the road, and they befriended him, and he was always being generous to them and surprised that they wanted to support or help him. He's like, no, I don't need your help. This is how I live and how I want to live. So there's an interesting line there between where does somebody actually need the support, or where do we feel bad for that individual, and then try to do things for them that aren't necessarily things that they're asking for.
Yeah.
So that was what really brought me to the top, to the subject, just to hear how it was for him and where he may have met struggles in that area.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've met the individual. His name is Daniel.
Yeah.
And Steven also asked me to do a little photo shoot for him.
Oh, nice.
Because on his journey, on Steven's journey, like to help Daniel integrate into society, he thought, hey, we need social media, we need dating pictures. Like there were all these things coming up. So we even made images for dating.
Oh, really?
Like introducing Daniel, and he had another friend writing the text, and Steven was asking, what are the dating apps? Because I know you've been using them. So there was this, he was trying all avenues. Like, how do we help Daniel get self-sufficient? And there's been recent developments, but I'm not going to go into them. I'm going to let Steven share that, because I also know it's his excitement.
Yeah, great. So yeah, but that was sort of the way I wanted to frame a bit of our discussion today, at least.
Yeah.
Outside of that, Adam, he also has this company called Adam. Yeah.
Like you have to go on YouTube and Google Adam.
Yeah.
Like the clothing brand. They make really cool underwear, socks, and their videos are hilarious. Like you have to watch them. Like
nice.
You'll see a guy skateboarding behind the London bus in underwear.
Oh, fantastic. We bring him on. Hello, Steven.
Hey guys.
A little bit of promotion.
So 5 months ago, you make a decision to change someone's life. How does that come about?
Yeah, it all started with photography, curiosity, and just also partly a mirror for myself. I was always on the run, and you know those moments that you step out of the supermarket and you see those homeless people and you want to do something, and in the rush you give them €1 or €2, or you bring them some food or whatever. But most of the time I was in a hurry, and I thought by myself, that's also not good. You know, I want to choose my own moment to be there for someone and to listen to their story. And on a certain Saturday, I took that moment and I went to Stichting Zonnebloem. I was Googling also because it was totally new for me. And I approached the guy, and it was a little bit, not fake, but it was a little bit a show from my side, because I knew he was homeless, but I was a little bit too shy to say like, hey, can I write a story? Can I make a picture? I didn't know how to ask the first question. So it was kind of a little bit, not awkward, but more uncomfortable. And he said like, yeah, but I'm homeless. I was like, oh, really? Oh, I didn't know. So it was kind of, you know, and we got in conversation and we directly had a click. Directly, I saw like, whoa, this is special for him because nobody is doing this. And his face was full of tattoos, full of yeah, everywhere. And so he also had a kind of, yeah, I could say aggressive face, you know, like it was a little bit scary, I could say.
Yeah.
And yeah, you saw the wounds, you know. So it was also really, I saw directly like, wow, I want to capture this story. I want to make this picture. And of course, I forgot something with my ADHD mind. So I thought like, shit, I need to have the flash. And afterwards, I didn't use the flash anymore. It was too big. The production was too huge. Was not necessary. Just the right light from Mother Nature, and it was enough. But I wanted to do it, the first picture, with a flash. Okay. So I thought like, shit, then I need to pack my stuff again. I need to go home. You know what? I fucking trust this guy. I said, you stay here with the gear, like everything. And I said, I come back. But it was also like, whoa, if I come back and everything is gone, that would be also funny. Anyways, So I went home and I took my flash. I came back. He was still waiting there, very excited. So the energy kind of built, and we co-created something together, and that was something really awesome. So he came into this like doing this and doing that, and he was. I was asking him to pose a little bit and tell his story also in the meantime. So we yeah, in between those moments, I was capturing his face and to get the real picture, to get the real story connected. And what I started to do is I put my phone on a memo, on a voice memo. So I was recording the whole thing because yeah, you lose all those important details. So afterwards, I write the whole story and I connect it. And I came home and I put my SD card in my laptop. I was like, oh my God, these pictures are beautiful. I had like, this feeling on my skin.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, exactly that word. And it was really, I directly felt like, okay, this is an itch. And whatever the direction will be, this is something I would like to do more. This is what I like to do in general in my life. When it feels good, I continue. If I don't try, I don't know. So to define my strategy, I always try. So and there's no push. There's no whatever manager behind. Should be purple, blue, black, whatever. It's our story. We created it together, and we decide kind of when and how we shoot it into the universe. And so I started with the first picture one year ago in February 2020, and yeah, it was a starting point of a lot of little adventures in the city center of Amsterdam.
And that was just to help me understand, this project was bigger than this one individual Daniel. Did you want to document homeless people and understand their stories, or was it only Daniel who you were interacting with?
Not at all. Not at all. I was literally confused when I met Daniel, and I will come back later to it because in between I took
Daniel came in later. The first homeless person was not Daniel.
Yeah, I got that now. Yeah.
And for me it was just a person that listened to their stories, photography that I really like, writing stories, improve my English. It just simply felt good. So I continued, and yeah, mostly on Saturday mornings. It's quiet. I don't like big groups of homeless people because sometimes the situation is also pretty unpredictable. They stand behind you, and yeah, they have psychologic problems sometimes. So yeah, you need to be aware that it could be also dangerous. So what I mostly like is face to face, one to one.
Nice.
And yeah.
So what you're saying is on Saturdays, early in the morning, you would go and explore the city of Amsterdam, walk into a homeless person and interact with them, make pictures, record their story. That's it.
That's it.
Nice. It was. Yeah. He called this. The episode was called "Hunt the Homeless."
No, not hunt the homeless. Yeah, for me,
that's my bad humor, Steven.
for me, it was sometimes a hunt. But
did you know? Had you seen the homeless people that you were going to talk to before, or sometimes you never saw them before? Would it sometimes have been the first time you've seen them that Saturday morning?
9 out of 10, I just saw them, because to make an appointment with someone that lives on the street, nah, it doesn't work out. Also, I don't like it. Like, hey, do we have tomorrow time and at 3 o'clock? And then it just should be spontaneous. That's the most.
But I guess way. what I meant to say is, like, there's like 3 homeless people that I know that basically panhandle Elandsgracht, where we are. So I know those 3 homeless people. When they're going to show up, I don't know, but I know they're going to be there every day. Is it sort of similar to that where you were at, or how was it the people that were showing up?
Partly that, because sometimes I know them and I go to to the office and I have other things to do also, because you need to have time for it. You need to have an hour at least. But the Daniel story, I didn't have an hour. That was also funny. But anyways, normally it takes a while, and yeah, sometimes they don't trust you. I approached them in a different way than in the first in the beginning. So I had a lot of stories and I didn't come to the point. And we were kind of used to in our normal life, you know, to talk a little bit in different layers to come to the point. But if you are on the street, people don't like it. What do you want? Can I get something out of it? Can I trust you right away? And if you talk for them bullshit, if you don't come to the point, they don't trust you. So I say, hello, I'm Steven. I'm a photographer. This is what I do. Do you like it? Do you have a little bit time so we can talk about it? That's also for a lot of people that are full in the mind with a lot of thoughts also. It's also a reason why they are on the street. So keep things clear and yeah, simple. So I learned also a lot from it, and also to be humble and to be grateful what you have. So also in my personal growth, it was really important. But of course, the most important thing is that you show those stories to the world, and those stories that are hidden, those hidden diamonds or pearls, or how do you name it, that we can learn from.
And I'm curious about those stories. We have one question that came in from Bolalang, who's in South Africa. And I'm going to ask a second question to that. So you're talking about these stories. Were these stories being produced and published somewhere, or how were they being used? And then he asked as a follow-up, are those pictures that gave Steven's goosebumps published somewhere?
Yeah. Well, I started an Instagram called The Homeless, and if you type Steven Borghouts, my name, you see those pictures. And yeah, I started to post them on Instagram just to give them a face, just to show their story. And also sometimes how thin the line is between being homeless and yeah, just being you and me. I mean, sometimes they got into a divorce. We live in city centers that are getting more and more expensive. And if you get into a divorce and you can't pay the rent anymore, and you're full of shit in your head, it's difficult to bounce back, difficult to stay on track. And well, the blue envelopes will come, you know, the fines will come. And if you can't pay them anymore because you're not organized anymore, just in a couple of months, you can, be out of the game, literally.
Wow.
And sometimes you think like, what is this really the problem? What we were talking about? Yes, this is only the problem. I just had one fine, or I lost it. I didn't felt so good in that time. Boom. You go to a friend, your friends say after 3 weeks, like, hey, guy, I also have a family, you know, and there you go. And
wow.
The figures doubled from 2009 to 2019. The new information will be way more crazy, and the government expect that it will triple or get 4 times bigger. Because the gap between rich and poor, the pandemic, stress, like we are pretty in a crazy world, and people and problems they get.
Following up a little bit on what you just spoke about, and Bolalang said this as I introduced it, I'm sure, with more. He says, I wonder whether a person can choose to be homeless. I think that they accept their condition and feel comfortable about being homeless.
Yeah, of course, you have several layers of homeless people. We name them as the homeless, but every individual, that's a unique human with a unique story. And some people they want, some people, mostly they don't have papers. The Netherlands is known of a liberal country, but it's more like what people know from the 60s and the 70s, because we're not that liberal anymore, and it's not. Well, it's fucking difficult to get papers. Actually, it's almost not doable to get papers.
Yeah.
You know, we were looking to countries in Europe to a top list where to get papers for Daniel, and there was a top 11 list. For example, if you buy a house in Spain or in Portugal for 300,000 euros, you have papers automatically.
Yeah, I've seen, it's interesting you say that, because there's like loopholes to get into the EU. Like an American, there's a Dutch-US treaty. So if an American wants to live in the Netherlands, they open a bank account. I think they put 5 or 10,000, and then you're here, no issue. But like,
in the Americans in the Netherlands, you mean?
Yeah, it's a Dutch-US treaty.
Yeah. But for example, my girlfriend is she's from Canada. She's Canadian, and we need to have like a contract that we live together. It's not like a marriage, but something in between.
Yeah. That's kind
that
of
was
weird
the only
stuff.
Solution. But yeah, between the States and the Netherlands, it's simpler. But for example, in Belgium, if you have a normal job and you have different opportunities, you can get the papers more easy than in the Netherlands. And then you thought like, okay, those countries, they are laying next to each other. The Netherlands is not in that top 11.
Oh wow!
So it's very, very difficult. Yeah.
So you now do the research. Do you find any way to get in papers?
Yes. For example, you can start to study here, and the cheapest study is 6,000 euros in Utrecht and in Enschede on the technical study, and you pay 6,000 euros per year, and then they look every year for the situation and what exactly the elements are where they are looking for. It's pretty unclear, and you need to show that you have 11,000 euros on your bank account.
Yeah.
But you also can, I think, take it off again. So that's just for showing. But that's literally only for the time that you study. So what will happen after that time? It's also pretty unpredictable. Wow. So it's not super sustainable.
And what did you arrange for? I mean, we haven't actually gotten to Daniel yet. I think we're still kind of building up to that part of the story. So I was going to say, is there anything you wanted to dig into before we get there?
I was just about to ask. So you're walking one Saturday, and you meet Daniel. Would that be the case?
Yeah, kind of. At 11th of October, the 11th of October, that's my birthday, and I wanted to celebrate my birthday. I also invited you, but you had a client that Sunday, and we wanted to take a dive into the ocean in the North Sea. Pretty cold in October.
And you did it.
And of course I did it, but two of my friends said, "Oh, Steven, I know you guy, crazy guy. No, we're not gonna do that. We give you a birthday present on Friday the 9th, a dinner." Like, "Oh, that's sweet, guys. I will come. I will see you at 6, blah, blah, blah." And it was 5 o'clock. I was at home. I had plenty of time. I could do everything to be there on time, but something was saying inside, like, I need to make a picture before I go. And before I knew I was on my bike, I knew already I have too less time, because when I get into a conversation, I literally can't make it at 6 o'clock. But whatever, we will see.
Yeah.
And there was nobody. And I went to the Waterkant. It's a place next to the canals in the city center of Amsterdam.
Around the corner.
Yeah, around the corner. And I turned my back towards the water, and I saw something laying in a sleeping bag, a person. And I was looking around, and I saw that the man closed his eyes, and I walked into his sunshine, and the shadow of my body dropped into his face, and he directly opened his eyes. So he's kind of between sleep and being awake. And we also directly had a really nice conversation. We started talking about life really directly, really straight and clear, and like, I was a little bit surprised, because all those people that I interviewed and took pictures of that had big mental problems, really clear, and drug addictions, and it was difficult to follow their stories. And this was really a clever guy. His English was better than mine. So one of the first questions I asked, like, "Hey, I'm surprised, man. What do you do at the couch? You're clever. I think you don't use alcohol and drugs. What is your story?" "Well, I'm from Serbia," and I directly was touched, because 2 months before I biked from Zandvoort to Istanbul, and I went through Serbia. I saw everything from Serbia. I talked with the people. I slept at the countryside in my tent, and I saw everything from inside out. So I was like, wow. And I almost lost his story. Like
what was the wow?
The wow in the
what was Serbia? He said,
It
"Oh,
was
Serbia,
raw.
wow."
They are they're victim of the war. You know, they are like the bad guys. And but people from my age, they have nothing to do with the war. They're just victims, and they want to do something good. They want to belong to something, like every human being here on this planet. But they are in the middle of an island, in the middle of Europe. It's pretty fucked up. So you have bad luck if you are born there, because it's difficult to find a job. There's less education. You earn $250 euros per month. You work mostly on the field, on the tracker or whatever you do. And if you want to come to Amsterdam, that costs you like €1,000 for a nice weekend. It's not possible. And if you take a country beside it, it's possible. So it's kind of unfair what's happening.
When you say it, I liked how you phrased it. It's really an island, meaning it's just every country around is part of the EU. This is not
exactly.
It's like Switzerland. I didn't even know that, by the way. I mean, I just didn't have that in my head. The Serbia was okay. Wow.
And the people are so polite. The first city we entered with the bike, it was pretty late. It was our best day. We had a flat road. There was no wind. The temperature was perfect. It was around 30 instead of 42, 43 in summertime. It was crazy weather. So we biked 253 kilometers that day. So we were really proud, but we also really disastered that day. And we stepped out of our bikes and we asked two guys that were eating an ice cream in front of an ice cream shop, like, "Hey guys, can we ask you something? Is there a place where we can eat something, whatever it is? We're just hungry." And they're like, "Oh yeah, of course." Like, he said to the guys, "We pay the ice cream later." Pop, pop, pop. So they went to a restaurant with us. It was like 500-600 meters. Very, very. The hospitality is very high there. They waited until we ordered. They wanted to double check was everything if everything was okay. Then we shake each other the hand. They look me in the eyes, like, "Is everything really okay?" Then they were convinced, and then they went back to the ice cream shop. And Basha and me were looking to each other like, "Whoa, what's going on over here? This is really special." It's not only, it's also a little bit of macho culture, right? It's like yeah, it's a little bit like that, showing your. But it's also really hospitality is really high, and the honor is really high. And mostly we if you give a hand in Serbia, you give a strong hand and you look each other into the eyes, like human to human. And I don't know, if you do it in Holland, it's just because it's I don't know, you need to do it or something. Like we don't, like, we look away, or like it loses the power, you know. You also see it in Turkey, like, you give a hand, you give a hand. I like that style. And yeah, pretty surprised also. The highways were very, very, very in good condition, and the rest of the roads were in very bad condition. So they also want to show that they want to be a kid of the European Union, and they want to prove that they can belong to it. But also that's a long way to go, because they're, I mean, the people are undereducated. The possibilities are not that high. So it's also like, we talk sometimes about the win-win. There are a lot behind. So that's difficult to get on track if you are surrounded by countries that are doing really, really well. But come back to the story. Can you help me a little bit?
Yeah.
Daniel bench.
So now you're back with Daniel on the bench. Now you have the shadow, opens his eyes. You have a very good talk. What are the things that come out while you're having that talk? So what are the things that are different than all the other talks that you had? Because obviously you had a connection there that wasn't the same for others.
Yeah. I almost, maybe you recognize it, that my angel on my shoulder said, like, "Help this guy, help this guy, help this guy," and then repeat. And it was so strong that I saw his mouth moving, but I didn't hear anymore what he was saying. I was, okay, fuck, okay. Let me check. 6 o'clock, shit, it's too late. Okay, first, hold on. I call the guys, "Listen, guys, I need to listen to this guy now, a homeless guy. I will come later. I know that it's a gift from you to me, but this has priority. Sorry, I see you later. I will call you later." Okay, boom, that's fixed. Now I focus on Daniel. So I decided to help him, and everything in my body and my mind said, okay, I can't let this go anymore. It's just I didn't take the decision, it was taken for me.
Yeah, no.
And on that moment I was thinking, okay, how can I help him? What is the priority? And okay, he need warm clothes, wintertime. One of my friends, he's in production of Scotch and Soda, a big clothing brand from Europe, from Amsterdam. I called him like, hey guy, winter jacket, nice jeans, this, that, everything was fixed in just a split second. Okay, Sunday, my birthday, don't give me stuff. I have enough stuff, and second, we need the money for Daniel. Boom. Okay. But when the money is empty, maybe I need more people also to help him out, and also to have like a kind of stream of money to help him out. Why do it together? Because I directly saw everybody wants to help, but didn't know how. So if I can show how, we can do it together. Simple. Make it flat. There is like a need and a demand, and something what we can help.
Yeah.
A person in this case also. And I brought some people together, and we just started helping Daniel. And I was thinking, I need to get him from the street now, yesterday. And I called a good friend, Steven, same name as I have. And I asked him like, hey, that studio that you're living in, are you still there? Or sometimes you're in a different place? He's like an artist, huh? He was an artist. Well, I will tell you later. And he said, Steven, yeah, okay, I have 1% telephone. It's on a speaker, and it was a little bit chaotic. And Douwe Bob, maybe you know Douwe Bob, he's a famous artist from the Netherlands. And he took the phone. He said, Steven, come with Daniel to my boat, big boat, somewhere in the east of Amsterdam, and maybe we have something for him. And I was like, what is this fucking happening? Wow. So I was like, yeah. So I called Daniel. Daniel, he had a phone already. I said, Daniel, we can come to Douwe Bob's place. And Daniel was a little bit flabbergasted. Sometimes he needs to get used to changes, Now I pick you up. He said, yeah, but I'm lunching now. He said, doesn't matter, lunch later. Come on, once in your lifetime. And we went to Douwe Bob's place, and Douwe Bob opened the door, and he's a really cool guy. Stepped out of the door, looked Douwe Bob into the eyes for 10 seconds. Daniel was a little bit like not so comfortable with it. Took the key out of his pocket. Here, he said, your new house. I was like, wait a second, what's going on? Really? And of course, tears in my eyes. And it happened on the 20th of October already, 11 days after the 9th. We had money, we had clothes, we had a roof above his head. And Steven was the connector. We drank a couple of beers. It was for him also overwhelming almost. So literally from the street, like pop, we had a house for him. Like a luxurious house also, because it was an apartment that normally he rents out for Airbnb, like that type, like a hotel type. And he was like, holy shit, that's amazing. And 2 weeks later, Steven died. The key between Daniel and Douwe Bob. That was really, really heavy and strange, and also beautiful at the same time. That this thing that he did, it was the last. We say in Dutch, het stokje. The last thing you give further in life. It was so powerful, and we started to.
How was that expected, or was it unexpected? His death.
Unexpected. It was a heart attack. Yeah.
Wow.
He was drawing.
How old is this?
59.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Steven Prinsen is beautiful poetry, beautiful paintings, and he was sitting in his atelier studio, drawing, drinking a beer, smoking a cigarette, and then he didn't feel so well. We think he put off the cigarette. You saw it because it was only like one suck, and then it was bent into the ashtray.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was laying at the couch, sitting really peaceful.
Oh, wow.
Like he died in his harness, almost. So yeah, and it's also nice. I had a memo, like a voice memo, because I wanted to make a documentary, also a crazy thing that I had in mind. But every time when there was a special moment in his life, I wasn't there. If you need to make if you want to capture the story, you need to be there in every special moment in his life. And every time he called me, he said, Steven, I need to go to jail or this or this or that. And every time I'm in Germany, like, no, I missed this situation.
Yeah.
Like on a certain moment that I decided, like, okay, this is not going to work. But on a Sunday morning, I wanted to capture some more insight. I wanted to capture the story to start this project. It was still on my phone, and I put this memo. I made a podcast of it, like 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, and I put it online. It's really like my legacy, my present to his family, and it was a hidden pearl on my phone. So it was very special, very important for me, and I think also for a lot of other people to hear. But to go back to the story, Daniel, a house, we helped him out for 4 months, and we formed a group of 20 people together, and we just separated this group in different categories, from nutrition to movement to social to just general. A lot of other unpredictable things you need to arrange that. So a general category.
So help me understand, because now in some weird way, like this is kind of going back to the beginning of the show when I mentioned that I was curious how you would engage a person.
Yeah.
Well, you're introducing these things into his life that he didn't ask for per se.
Yeah.
So how did that dynamic play out? Like how did he react as you're now saying, "Hey, I got a house for you." Great. I'm sure he appreciated that and he was grateful for it. And then how did it like progress with adding people into his life? How did he deal with that?
Yeah, that's one of the most essential questions if you want to help people. And Bambas also experienced this layer. We talked also in the park about it. But my first question also, to go back to that essence, is like, okay, Daniel, I really want to help you. I want to ask you one important question. Do you believe in it by yourself? Do you want this? He said, yes, I believe in a better world. I came to Amsterdam for my freedom. I came from a post-communistic system. My family came from Macedonia. You need to imagine, if you're not communistic, and it's really difficult to get in that system. Even when it was after that system, still family or connected people, they get the right jobs, they get the right responsibilities in the government. Like, it was very, very difficult to earn your money. And so he decided to create a better life, started working in Prague, and his mother got sick. He didn't have contact with his father. He went home, he quit his job to help his mother out, because the healthcare is there really bad. His mother died. He had really big problems to get back on track, and it took too long. He became isolated, and with literally his last money, he went with the bus to Hungary, to Berlin, and at the end to the promised land city, Amsterdam. And I saw him after 1 year struggling. He's not a hustler. He's not a guy like, hey, can I get €1? Like, hey, can I do? He was just laying there, and he trusted in the fate, but he didn't took action on it. So he was literally like a candlelight that was dying. And he
How
came
old? How old is
45, and his body is like 85.
Wow.
And he came from 85 kilos, and I saw him. And when I saw him, of course, we measured him, and it was 58 kilos. So we also saw, like, we need to help this guy yesterday, because there's no fat, there's no muscle, everything is gone. He has diabetes, he has pancreas problems. So
you
altogether,
you said, right?
sorry.
You found him just before winter came, so
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's also nice with a group of friends that has totally no experience with homeless people, that you have a fresh mind. A fresh mind that you don't have all those experience is important, but also it can make you blind and narrow-minded. And just, yeah.
So I have a question. So all of a sudden you have 20 people helping Daniel. Like,
Yeah, not suddenly. It became also, I wanted to test also, because I know that I can convince people. I'm enthusiastic, and people around me can step in because they like me or whatever. Like, it's really close and warm lead, right? If you see it from that perspective. So I wanted to test, is it possible to make this group better, bigger outside of me? So there was a guy, he also transferred some money. I know him, but his friends don't know me so well, a little bit far away, or some people even don't know me at all. So I asked him, maybe it's nice, because you're a yoga teacher, to teach him some yoga. And the week after he came back, and the week after he came back. So I saw that he was, from his inside, motivated to help that person. A lot of people want to help, and after one time they're gone. Like, it's nice that you help, but it's about repeating. That's the power of repeating your actions. That's, if you give a person €5, he buys cigarettes, it's nice, but you don't help him out for the long term.
Yeah.
And he did that. So I asked him, this is interesting.
I just want to ask you, I know that you're a busy businessman. You have your fingers in different pots, and all of a sudden you have this new project. You have 20 people, and you have Daniel. Like, what was some of the challenges that you faced that you weren't aware of when you went into this endeavor?
Yeah. To come back to the thing that you can't turn your back to it. Just take your responsibility. And to take your responsibility to someone else's life, maybe it's not realistic, but I took my responsibility to the things I wanted to give him. And there are always more ways to roam, and I don't see it as that black and white. It's just, I wanted to do it, and you find ways to do it. Maybe you sleep.
But what were the problems?
The problems in what?
Well, so what were the things that you came up against in this whole process?
Well, again, to your question, like, does he really want it? He said, yes, I want it. But if you look to his actions, we didn't saw the right growth. We didn't saw the right track record. We didn't saw the things we expected. And there you go. If you expect something, it's also dangerous. And if you create expectations, and if you feed the group with those expectations, it also, the group can fall apart, because
because they're doing it because they want to feel good about seeing the progression of this person. That's the kind of thing that, so it's interesting, because I didn't know any part of this story, but in the back of my mind, I had the suspicion, because as I mentioned earlier, like, I often find that if an individual doesn't take their own initiative and another person takes the initiative for them, the struggle is, how does that transfer in a way that the person gets inspired on their own? And I guess what I'm wondering is how that process is unfolded. Have you seen it improve, or have you seen big, like, shifts go on that you were happy about?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, we don't see big shifts. It's more like, listen more careful what he wants. Find, like, check the opportunities, and also process those opportunities, what kind of program or system you use, to find a way. For every person in this world, there's a place. You just need to find a place for it. That's it. And now we go more towards a community, because what we do with 20 people, we hold them into the air, like a lot of muscles and power and connections, because we are in an Amsterdam network. We are privileged that we have dentists, we have yoga teachers, we have nutrition guys. Like, it's awesome. But at the end, it should be a realistic that you learn the person to fish and not to bring him fish every day, because that's not sustainable.
Clearly. And what would be, not that you can have, so this is the struggle it was nice because Bola Long even chimed in, yes, expectations are dangerous. So on one level, you would need to see him getting more and more self-reliant, taking agency over his own life. And on another level, you can't force him or push him too quickly, because then he's just going to like feel the resistance and the frustration with you wanting something he isn't naturally doing. So I guess without saying this is your expectation, but I guess more of a desire, what is your end desire for Daniel?
That he has a place where he can live in peace, where he can be respected, where he will be heard, where he can give back also, like the circle of life, not taking, but it's important to give something back as a human, right? It's the infinity, like giving and taking, the balance between it, and not literally between you and me. I give you something, but maybe in another layer of life.
Of course. But do you see? I mean, so that would mean, if we talk pragmatically, it would mean he has papers to live in the Netherlands. He has a job. He can rent. He can afford a house. He can afford his own food. Like, that's where your real desire would be for him.
Well, that's a construction we need for that life. But yeah, if you talk about literally layers, papers, and work, and maybe a car, he knows everything about cars. Yeah, but also you need to be realistic, and I think for now, a nice community where everybody has a task, where he can deliver something. He likes to paint. We sold over 50 paintings last weekend, of course, through social media. But yeah, it really touched his enthusiasm and his feeling like, wow, people like my work, and it's so important. You can try everything, push-ups, and help him mentally, physically, but those paintings were like massive.
Wow.
Yeah. And yesterday we went to a community, and every time when you show him new stuff in his life, it's you see that it's difficult for him, and you also see the reason why he got on the street.
What do you mean you went to community? I didn't understand that.
Like a cloister. How do you say it in English? A place where monks. Monastery, yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's a mixed monastery, so also people that don't believe or not religious, that are not religious, are welcome. And it's a system. It's not it's not depending on the government. It's working on its own. I really like that, and it's hands-on. It's you need to deliver something also. And his physical condition is not that well. I mean, we can check out, we can find out if the paintings are something what we can do in exchange or something, but we need to figure out. And we saw some doubts also from his side, but sometimes, and that's to come back to the story of like, yeah, he really needs to want it, but the thing is also sometimes you don't have an option. Sometimes you need to make a little bit the decision for him, and also translate it like, hey brother, this is the best for you now. We put you for 5 months now with 20 people into the year, but if we let you go, you're on the street tomorrow again. Be realistic. We need to find a way where you can recover, where you can heal, and maybe not, maybe you stay there, but that's also life, but not on the street. And you need to be a part of a community, whatever. If it doesn't matter if it's somewhere in the city center, a family, but our system with the group of the friends that are helping him, it's not the system that we can hold on for him for the rest of his life. That's not realistic.
And he knows that as well, I'm assuming.
He knows that, yeah. And sometimes he loses that feeling. Sometimes you see that, yeah, I can say the words. You see that he is sometimes damaged. There are some traumas that sometimes I think that he is autistic, or yesterday we had a walk around, and he dived into the second-hand shop during we had the conversation about him being a part of the community, and we totally lost him in the conversation. And so he lost also the bigger picture. He lost also the importance of being present in that conversation, that it is really important to do your fucking best, because there's no second option at the moment.
Yeah.
And summarized, you see also
there is a second option, is
on the street.
On the street.
Yeah. And how would it be for you if that were to be the thing that now happens, that he goes back to live on the street?
I think it's not in my vocabulary yet, because I see that there are places in the Netherlands or abroad that can help him, and I truly believe in that. It's just a matter of time, and in the meantime, we need to get him from the streets. That's it. It's just a matter of time. It's too simple to say, well, yeah, that's the second option. Is on the street.
I just want to say first, as you speak and as I see how you respond to these questions, I just love how you're engaging the whole subject. And I see the same thing that made you successful in the business is exactly what will make you successful in the situation with David. Because in a way,
Daniel.
What?
Daniel,
sorry. And the thing I see is that you don't need to know the answer, but if you stay strong in the process, you'll figure it out. And the longer you continue, the more opportunities will come. You won't know where they're coming from, and if you have to plan it out in advance, it'll never work out because you can't plan it in advance. So I guess the principle, which I always love when we do these shows, to look at like fundamental principles when people work from that principle, what the outcomes are, is the principle I see that you're now applying is that I'm going to be determined in direction, but I'm going to allow the opportunities to find me, and I'm not going to be discouraged because I always know that it's like the moment when you think all your opportunities are gone, and then the one that you didn't expect shows up. Yeah. So in some ways, that's what I'm hearing from you, which is really beautiful.
Believe in the faith. But I believe in the faith by taking action. I don't believe by sitting on a chair that it falls out of the air automatically. Because nothing will happen. But I believe if you're open to the world, and I believe if you believe in believing, then it will come, and you connect. I'm a connector, and that's also my power. I think sometimes you need to find something where you're good in, and I'm good in that. And I can connect people. I can bring people together on the same purpose. And I see it really simple. The amount of homeless people is increasing rapidly, and there is a big demand of a huge amount of people that wants to help, but they don't know how. So we're going to make a platform where people can help homeless people. And so what we're going to do is connect groups of friends to homeless people, like a Tinder for a Tinder system, but then connect groups of friends to homeless people.
Wow.
And it's not that difficult, actually. I mean, just bring it together and make a platform. I don't know how to make that platform. Many people know how to make the platform, and I know how to find those people.
Yeah, beautiful. And a bit scary if I think about it, because in some ways, like you talked about, the mental health issues are also present.
Yeah.
Because so in some way you are taking on a bigger challenge than hey, let's help you be successful as a entrepreneur, right?
Yeah,
because they have yeah. Go ahead.
One of the biggest lessons I learned from Daniel is that you have different categories in homeless people. You have the people that really live on the street with big beards and well, they have traumas and drug addictions and mental problems, strong mental problems, and you can't help those people like easily. You can only be like listen to their stories and be there for them on the street, but give them a home, and that won't be successful. You're not professional social workers, and even the social workers can fix these problems apparently. But that's a heavy layer. Secondly, you have homeless people that live on the street, but they don't have potential. And the third layer is foundations that sometimes they found already homes for homeless people, but the buddy system, the groups of friends, the social, well, they're just buddies. They are missing out, and we call those the second and the third layers. We call those homeless people economic homeless people. So sometimes they have a job, but they don't have a house anymore. They live in their car. People don't know. They don't talk with the family about the situation because they're scared and they're embarrassed. And yeah, and also sometimes just they need to have some friends. That's it. Just drink a beer or talk about life or do a walk in the forest or whatever. That's it. Keep it simple. And we can connect those groups to those homeless people. And it's about working together because all those foundations, they are already there. The only thing we need to do is filter those people and give them to us, and we connect the homeless people, the groups, the friend groups to them. That's it. And how we're gonna do it? Yeah, I mean, we're gonna start with a landing page to see where the weight is of the traffic. And from that traffic, we're gonna build the platform. And yeah, everybody's jumping on this train. It's awesome. Yeah. Really nobody that I tell this story is like, well, I don't feel it. So there's an itch. I see that people want to do something with it. Of course, we can send our money to the other side of the world. It's really noble. It's really it's noble. English word.
Yeah.
It's really nice that it happens, of course. Huh? But sometimes we forget that the problem is in front of your nose. And take care of your neighbor. Take care of your family. And if everybody is taking care of one person, the whole problem in the whole world is solved.
Yeah.
So also we focus on the millennials. We focus on the generation younger than me, the generation that really wants to change the world, that wants to wear sustainable clothes, that wants to fight for rights, and also help homeless people and be active, and also wants to spread that to the world. Be ambassador of this movement. And this is where we're going to focus on.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And of course, there will be also older people like that won't join, but the core target group will be millennials. Yeah, I really noticed that if I go to a birthday party and you see people literally 10 years, not that young, talking about life topics, like, whoa, that's already different than the guys or girls from my age. They're more, they don't want to change. They want to do something. So it's really powerful. And yeah, sometimes you step into something in your life and it's just there. And it feels good. I never expected that I would do something with homeless people in this scale. But yeah, with everything in your life, you experience it and you see the possibilities, and you see that people wants to jump on, and you help the world with it. And it's a nice infinity, I think. Find something where you are good in, help the world with it, and keep on going. And also we want to create a platform where we really make nice pictures and videos and storytelling things around these topics. Not maybe okay, well, I can use the word maybe granola style. You want to have like a platform where people wants to jump on, like, hey, I want to be a part of Homies Foundation. It's cool, it's nice, it's something that I want to be an ambassador from. And of course, it has all to do with the language and the visuals we show also. So there are a lot of people that can make great art. So let's connect.
Yeah,
Nice.
Beautiful. Well, we've come to the hour, and Bolalong, we can leave it with Bolalong's statement. He says, I feel you, and you will find your way through this.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. From the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Down south,
that part of the world.
So
yeah, beautiful work. I mean, I think it's when I see someone, we'll bring people on the show that take initiatives that are like, they're going down a path. They have no idea where the hell it's going to end, but they're walking regardless. It's almost like Columbus. Like, I'm going, and I know that I'm on a big ocean, and I'm going to hit something at some point. I just trust it. And there's just something beautiful in that journey you're taking. So thank you for fully embodying that. It's really special to see.
It was an honor to tell my story this detailed in this detailed way. And well, thank you for putting me on this platform.
Pleasure. Thank
Beautiful.
you. Say goodbye to you now. Yeah.
We'll
see you in the fitness center when that opens up in a few years.
For sure.
See you Monday.
See you Monday, 6 o'clock in the park.
Bye.
Oh my God, that's early.
Yeah, it is. Bye.
Ciao.
Yeah. Really sweet.
I saw the disadvantage of knowing all the details.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, what?
I saw, because you were asking questions that he wasn't responding to in the way that you were expecting, given what he already told you.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I was laughing because I'm like, oh, now I've got to. You saw me jump in.
Yeah. So I bet I shut up because, like, the questions are not genuine because I know.
I know. And then when he doesn't answer the way that you know that you had a conversation with him, then it's almost like, do I have to say what you said to me? And then it changes the dynamic a bit, right? Then you're like, tell me the story you told me yesterday again, exactly in the same words. Funny.
So bet I let you ask.
But questions. I mean, what you saw, Steven, which I quite liked, and I also caught on to the same thing you were catching on to, is that his brain doesn't work in the, this is what the problem is. His brain works in the, we're going to continue forward until we figure out what makes sense. So you can almost see he's primed himself totally differently than we'll sometimes ask the questions, which is why I noticed and I kind of laughed, because the way we were asking the questions was framing it in a direction that he doesn't necessarily associate with. Nice. So he entertained it to us for a little bit, but that's not how his brain works. And you can see his brain doesn't work that way, because he wouldn't have done this damn thing if his brain worked that way. Like, his whole brain functions with, there's things that will happen, and I'll continue, I'll bring more people in, and through that it'll evolve. And then if you say, well, what's the problem? Well, there is no problem, because I'll just evolve it further, and I'll evolve it further, and I'll figure out the next thing and the next thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the beauty of listening to how different individuals process also the questions we normally ask, right?
Yeah.
Which is really sweet. We've got big show on Monday, Bambos.
Oh yeah,
big shows on Monday.
We're gonna discuss the funniest moments,
the most embarrassing moments, and
on our show.
Not on our show, in our lives, right?
Oh yeah.
So the most embarrassing moments of our lives we share for the hour.
So before Monday, if you guys have embarrassing moments you want to share, the first time you ever had sex, trashing a wedding, anything, you share it, and we're just going to enjoy the pleasure and celebrating humanity.
And celebrate humanity. I had an interesting thing. I think we're going to spend half the time discussing why people have such a hard time discussing this topic. Because I can tell you, I sent it out to 20 people, and they all said, Andy, thank you for your initiative. It just doesn't work for me right now. It was really interesting. So I'm really going to want to be reflect on that. And I also had a few discoveries just because we took that topic, and looking at people's reactions. So I'm looking forward to discussing that as well.
Yeah, because we also said we don't have any shame, so we could probably do a whole show discussing.
I can tell you what happened on the trip, right? While I was going to the toilet. We'll have that discussion. A little bit of I didn't know there was a lookout tower right behind me that you could walk right up.
Well, I also didn't know while I was peeing, Andy was video filming me.
Yeah, but that was just normal. So we'll see you Monday for another week of shows.
And we're going to do that on
A
Wonderful
Chaos.
Us.